Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to TFT Tarot for today. Divine Dabblings with
Mr. O.
and me, Banshee. And it's that time again where we've just got to tell you where does it hurt?
That's right. It's the unhappy hour.
The unhappy hour, which we hope can turn your frown upside down. We want smiles after this reading is done.
So we do this reading at the fourth quarter of the moon or thereabouts, and we record it ahead of time, like a day or so. And then we are here in the chat live, too, to kind of go over some of the aspects and to, encourage happy.
And Bly is here, our support smushy, smushmallow, or whatever they call
Bly
him.
knows how to get it done.
Bly knows how to keep us sane, maybe.
All right, so let's get started.
Anybody can. Let's get started, why don't we? And also, I want to remind everybody that for this reading, I use the... can it even be seen? It's too, there it is.
It's upside down.
It's upside down.
For my camera, it is.
Never mind. Never mind. Who's going to do it?
This might hurt.
This might hurt tarot. Thank you, Mr. Camera.
Indeed.
Mr. Cameraman. All right. Let's get started. And we are going to, of course, start with we do the elemental signs of the Zodiac. So we'll be starting with our air signs, which is Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Reading is for you. And this reading is good till the next fourth quarter arrives.
Which should be in about 28, 30 days.
Okay. Shuffle Mr. O. All the cards in this reading are read in reverse. So that is the theme. How do we turn these reversals upside down?
Right. What originally started out as a sense of an April Fool's joke about, or in-joke about, our happy hour, where we always read the cards upright and work really hard to put a spin on those ones that are upright and don't necessarily mean good things. This is the corollary.
All right. Because we're not always happy. We have to admit that. Sometimes we're just not happy.
Card 1.
All right, air signs. So, what is or will be making you unhappy during this during this time?
And it's the Seven of Cups. Reversed, of course.
Well, the Seven of Cups reversed is it's like you have so many ideas, so many goals, so many things that you want to do, air signs, and yet you have to choose one. And you're not kind of happy about that. You wish you could do them all, perhaps, but it's making you unhappy that there's just so many things floating around in your head, and now it's time to kind of bring something out, something down to earth.
And maybe you just don't have the energy or the sense of really a brain cell left functioning. Everything almost seems too much the same, and it's really hard for you to pick what you want. And therefore, this causes some unease.
It may also be that what you truly want is either really kind of unreachable for you at this time, maybe you feel you don't have the skills, the talents, the abilities to pull it off without a lot of work and effort, and, it's kind of dragging you down.
Card 2.
All right, well, how are you dealing with or will be dealing with this unhappiness? I like it. It's interesting in a way. It's the world reversed. And, I think this is saying that you realize, you're dealing with this kind of practically in that you realize you've got a lot to do or things to do in order to reach a successful conclusion to this, to not just bring it out, but to make something, to manifest it. I mean, not just to try to work on it, but the finished product.
Well, this episode may be making you realize that you're more of a perfectionist than you want to be at times, or maybe it feels that you are not measuring up to a level of perfection. One or the other, a little bit of both even.
I almost look at this as a positive, though, to me. And I know the world card isn't necessarily positive reversed. I don't think it's super negative either. But I almost feel like this is a positive in that you are dealing with this in a proper manner because you realize it's just not going to happen. You're not going to be able to snap your fingers and poof, it's there.
Exactly.
You've got some real work to do. And, it can be frustrating.
Card 3.
Why are your feelings justified? Well.
And it's the Two of Cups reversed. So your feelings are justified because it really does maybe change the status quo or the emotionality between you and other people who may be important in the overall scheme of things.
It could also, be, how should I say this? Be kind of disconnecting you from the process in that, you don't feel as connected anymore because you realize how much work is going to be involved and you're really wondering if you're up for this challenge. It's kind of making you angry and maybe divisive with trying to get to this conclusion. But I also think, too, that yes, I think Mr. O touched on something here, that this could, your feelings are justified because maybe people around you, are missing the attention from you because you're focusing so much on this project or goal that you're leaving other, things out in your life. Your dog still needs walks. Your cat still needs some attention. And of course, your romantic partners or children still need your love and care.
There's a binary kind of quality once again going here because this could be saying that the situation is making you not feel closer or trustworthy of these other people or situations, or vice versa, that they in fact are losing some sense of being close to you, feeling like you have their back in a way.
And so how do you turn this frown upside down? Oh, it's the Hermit reversed. How interesting is that?
The Hermit reversed.
You know what? Share what you're doing with others. Maybe there is some way that they would offer you support. Maybe they would understand more. If you share what you're doing with others, maybe they can contribute too and be a part of the process. So, you're not so disconnected from those in your life. And maybe you would finally reach that conclusion you so much desire.
Maybe what was upsetting or making you unhappy was something that you felt was really an abstract philosophical kind of challenge for you. And this is really saying, no, maybe it's not so much come down from your mountain, great Buddha, and try to relate this to other people. Maybe you need to open up to the other people that you thought wouldn't care, wouldn't be interested. You see a reflection of that too with the Two of Cups reversed, but I don't want to get ahead of the recap.
That's some deep thought there, Mr. O.
Isn't it?
Anyway, let's recap for the air sign, shall we? So look at this. It's not the end of the world kind of reading, too. Some of our readings have been pretty dire. This is involving, you have choices, and you really have chosen something to work on, but there are some disappointments attached to this, It's kind of like you feel you're not up for the challenge. You don't have what you need. It's taking too much of your time and energy. You feel depleted. You're unsure you're going to reach a successful outcome.
These are things that are really emotionally valuable to you, whether they're people or situations that people are involved with. with you. And I think that's why you see that too later of cups too, because it emphasizes the idea that this is something that really does play to your relationships or your feelings about your relationships.
And then, of course, how you're dealing with it, well, personally, I feel is kind of in a positive manner in that you realize you're going to have to put yourself into this. You're going to have to either, get some training, study, or get some advice from others in order to pull this off. You realize it's going to take some work and effort and perhaps, more skills and talents and abilities on your part to be able to do this.
Well, in the slightly positive manner, it could be saying you have to deal with your relationship with your standards for being more perfect, or for others, if they're playing that down on you.
True. Nothing gets done if you constantly think you have to perfect it. And believe me, I know. Working on a project for the third time now. So try not to be too much of a perfectionist. Card 3 is why are your feelings justified, or why are your feelings justified? And they're justified because, maybe you feel like you've been letting a lot of your social interactions go by the wayside. Your interpersonal interactions, you're so focused on this that, others are starting to feel left out or like you've abandoned them. And, maybe vice versa. You're feeling more lonely and alone.
Yeah, I can't say much more there. It calls into question your emotional relationships, who you feel has your back or not, and the idea, too, that they might be going through this with you as well.
And ultimately, how you turn that frown upside down is to just maybe share what you're doing. Let people know, you haven't forgotten them. Do your part still in the other world. Be sure that you make time for others. And if you share your ideas with others, maybe they can help you in some way. Maybe they can even do some chores around the house that you might have been neglecting so you could spend more time to complete the project. Whatever the case may be, it's beneficial for you to get that out there now and, seek support from others or understanding from others.
The overall idea of the Hermit reverse may be, in fact, that we have to look and analyze our ego in this situation and realize that, maybe we shouldn't hold it all in thinking no one else can help us. We're the only ones, That's a little egotistical. Your friends are there to help you.
That's it. That's it
all
for
right,
the
so
air signs. It wasn't so painful, was it?
It wasn't so bad. But now we're going to move on to the fire signs.
Oh boy. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. This reading is for us.
Yes, and sometimes fire signs, can't help but be a little prickly about how they feel when they're unhappy. So let's see if they will have some good coping skills or not.
Mr. O would like to see this fire sign happy and not angry.
That's why I let you buy all the things you buy.
I see.
Because I know that's your main coping strategy. Buy books and cards.
Well, not necessarily.
And maybe some baked goods, too.
Yeah, baked goods. Is it time to go to the bakery yet?
Always.
All right, fire signs. Oh boy. Let's see what's making you hot or unhappy.
Card 1.
What is or will be making the fire signs unhappy right now? I know this would make me very unhappy.
Yeah, it's the Wheel of Fortune reversed.
Sigh.
It seems to be that maybe too much unexpected bad luck, or the feeling or dread perception that you're in a bad luck cycle is really making you have the glum.
Some unexpected negative turn of events has occurred. And, whenever something like that happens, we we really get sunk into the moment. We don't realize that this is transitory. What goes down must come up again. It's only a matter of time. We just have to ride out the storm and, try to ride with the wheel. If things are going bad, it's not a good idea to fight back, it's time to kind of ride that flow out, especially where this wheel is concerned, and wait for conditions to improve again. So maybe there was something, fire signs, you've wanted to do or initiate, get started, and the timing is just not right.
Right. Maybe something bad luck occurred and you have to take a delay. So card 2.
What will be making the fire signs unhappy right now?
No, it's how are we dealing with?
Oh, you're right. I'm reading one all over again.
It's okay. I did that once before.
I see you have the reading up. Well, maybe you could read some of those because I get crazy.
Well, how are we dealing or will be dealing with this unhappiness? And it's the devil reversed. And I think this is healthy in a way because the devil reversed is probably saying we need to maybe lift our dependencies away from other people that maybe are encouraging the negative thinking about bad luck, things like that. Or maybe that this is also saying too that once again, some of this is a perception and that we can lift those collars off of us that we feel are holding us to tasks we don't want to complete or that we feel are doomed.
I was going to say we're going to bust ourselves out of prison.
There you go.
Jailbreak. And the jailbreak is from, so how are we dealing with this? I'm, similar to the air signs, I want to say that we are dealing with this in a constructive manner as well, that we're trying to break free from the doldrums and the depression caused by this negative turn of luck. We're trying to release ourselves from it, trying to like I said, it's really easy to fall into a funk over, bad timing and just not being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it. So release yourself from these notions, release yourself from time being your prison.
The devil reversed is a big sign of release. Card 3. Why are our feelings justified?
This is so wow. It's Major Arcana Palooza for the fire signs.
Oh!
And doesn't that fit in a way?
It's the Chariot reversed.
Yeah. It doesn't go with the devil, but what your feelings are justified because this negative turn of events has caused a stall. You can't move forward, you got to change your attitude about the fact that, look, it's just not the time to move forward. So your feelings are justified because you definitely are stuck in the mud, but it's just something you're going to have to work your way through.
You'll have to work your way through it. You feel like you've lost your mojo. You feel like you've lost your ability to kind of pick up the reins and move on. Like normally you might have wanted to just power your way through this feeling of bad luck, but you can't do that here necessarily.
Well, so...
Card 4. How do we turn that frown upside down?
I don't know about that.
It's the Tower reversed. And maybe what it is we have to get beyond the idea that there's always a lesson to learn, good or bad, and that everything hinges on it. That's very binary. Maybe we have to look beyond the idea of a collapsed tower and saying it's like the devil reversed too. It is ultimately going to be liberating, and we just need to think beyond the idea that we always have to understand everything that we were meant to. Sometimes we just pick it up and go on.
I think how you turn that frown upside down is by kind of following the path we set out for you here with this devil card reversed. It's like, okay, how do you turn this frown upside down? If you keep clinging to the notion that this has got to happen now and you're going to make it happen now at all costs, even though the timing is totally wrong, you are not learning anything. And what you need to learn is that time can be your ally sometimes. I think that's the message here, is that time can be your ally. You know, if it's not the right time, there might be something else you need to consider and do before your project or goal is ready for prime time. So, you know, it's like, don't cling to, you know, what can't be now. You know, look ahead, pick yourself up and look ahead for a better time and space to pull this project off. So that's what I have. Let's recap for the fire signs, shall we? Well, clearly you're very disappointed right now in why you can't get anything to get off the ground. You know, there's just, it's bad timing. Things are not working for you right now, and it's frustrating.
Right. Your luck seems to have run out in certain respects, or you just don't feel you want to take the chance.
And you need to just, you know, let it go. You know, in other words, let this go. It's just a bad time right now. You don't have to, you liberate yourself from the clock. You know, liberate yourself from thinking it's never going to happen either and be bound by that. You know, free yourself into thinking, I will do this, and the time will be in a better time and in a better place and when I'm more prepared.
This is about self-empowerment to some degree, and feeling like you don't belong to your boss. And that's how you're going to deal with this, is just saying whatever that thing is, your boss, whether it's time or something else, you don't belong to that.
And you're not trapped or in bondage to your failure. You know, that
Good.
concept that it failed. Okay, so what about
if your feelings are justified?
If they are justified, clearly, because the Chariot says, yep, nothing's moving. I can't move forward, and doggone it, are we frustrated?
You don't really have control here, so you may as well try something different or wait until things change.
Right, and things will change when you can change your perspective and your attitude. You can pick up the pieces and you will have time to put them back together again, I feel here. So long as you learn the lesson that sometimes everything has its time and space. You can't rush some things to success. You have to let things play out.
And that's what I sort of said about the Tower reverse too, that maybe this isn't just necessarily the time to understand this lesson, but it will happen eventually.
It will happen eventually, fire signs.
Okay.
Good luck for that with that.
So we will now move on to the water signs, which are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces.
Yep.
Find out what it takes to turn their frown upside down.
And what the heck they're frowning about.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Scorpio. Inquiring minds want to know.
Do I get
Oh, I guess so.
I knew you were thinking of me.
Oh, always. How am I thinking of you? That is the question.
You're thinking about what we just experienced. Yesterday was the anniversary of our first date, October 5th. I know, we're actually filming this.
Filming it before, and so like yesterday, he's right. I'm so glad I didn't say you were wrong.
Time has no meaning here. Are you cutting them for me?
Are you gonna? Yes. Our first day,
No, I'm cutting them for you, apparently.
47 years
That is
ago.
correct, Alex.
I didn't forget that, Mr. O.
All right, card one. What is or will be making you unhappy right now?
Water signs.
Water signs. Oh, we made a big boo-boo of some sort. We made a mistake.
A little bit of a misstep, perhaps.
We had a misstep.
Yeah. You threw caution to the wind. You took a chance on something, which, what is life without taking chances anyway? But apparently that caused a major bump to happen. If you're expecting the universe to catch you at the bottom of that cliff, you had a hard landing.
Right. It did not work out. And in fact, you probably realized that you did not think enough about whatever the situation was.
Oh, sad news there. Well, so how are you dealing or will be dealing with this unhappiness? It's a repeat card. It's the Chariot. So you're just going to curl up and not do a dang thing, are you, water signs? It's so typical of you emotional water signs. You just feel like, meh, I hurt so bad. I think I want to just park it for a while and not do anything else.
Right. There's definitely sulking going on here. There's a feeling too that, if people don't want to ride in your chariot, then they can just go somewhere else, Either you're the one in charge of it. It's kind of like the pigeon, the pigeon wants to ride the bus, or the pigeon wants to ride the chariot. Don't let them.
Don't let them. For those of you who don't know those books, those are great children's books.
Card 3.
I just wanted to say something else about that I just want to say, water signs, that just indicates you're not dealing with this very well. Let's see what card 3 will say. Why are our feelings justified? Well, it's the Eight of Pentacles reversed. So your feelings are justified because you can't seem to get anything done, or you just now lack the motivation to get anything done. I also think your feelings are justified because you realize, in a way, you didn't put out your best effort when you took this risk or chance.
Well, it's also possible, too, that maybe you realized that you did, or at least to the satisfaction of yourself that you did. So why didn't this happen? Because you felt you did do the right thing. But maybe the idea really is contained in the first card. You didn't do the right thing. You might think you had planned enough. You might think you had worked with people in the right way. But that wasn't true either, the Chariot says.
Yeah. So how do you turn that frown upside down? It's the Queen of Swords. How about by making better choices, not getting angry over this, not getting resentful, not being bitter and cold, but being, better, making better choices, and not shutting yourself down. I almost sense with the Chariot and the Queen, there's a little bit of a resonance there.
Well, I'm going to take it to the water signs, though, and just say that sometimes as water signs, we sort of feel like it's better to cooperate to some degree. And when we have that Queen of Swords there, this is saying the best way to deal with this, to turn that around, is just to realize you're not going to please everybody. And somebody is always going to say, I didn't like how you decided to do that or what you did with that, And so we just have to sort of take it on ourselves that people aren't going to like everything and we're just going to be harsh to others, possibly.
Well,
but we're doing the right thing for ourselves.
I guess. That would be a very Scorpio way of looking at it.
Indeed.
Let's recap again for the water signs. So, something goes amiss. You take a misstep. You take a chance on something, whether it's in your interpersonal life with relationships, you pop the question and it wasn't the right time. You land a job, but it turns out bad for you. It's not the right fit. Whatever the case may be, something is amiss.
More or less based on the idea that you decided to pursue some course of action and maybe you just didn't put enough forethought into it.
And so how are you dealing with it? Well, full stop. You just decided, okay. You're either deciding you're done with it or you're just not dealing with it right now, which can be bad,
It's like a sort of salty kind of thing saying like, well, I didn't want to really ride the chariot with you anyway.
And why are your feelings justified? Well, because you feel like, I could see what Mr. O said about putting in the effort and then not getting anything out of it. But I also think this card can be a sign of a lack of really putting in the effort. Maybe you needed something more before you were able to pull this off. Like, for example, if you were popping a question at somebody, were you popping it like after only knowing them for a month? Did you need more time, to get to know each other? I mean, something is off here. You took a risk on something and you really needed more knowledge, skills, or talents to be able to pull it off.
Right. It just looks like the water signs weren't totally invested in the way they should have been.
And ultimately here, Mr. O had some good points, but I'm just going to stick with, you need to make better choices. If you're going to take a risk, okay, but you have to suffer the consequences then if you weren't prepared in some way for that risk, if you didn't have the means to really pull it off. Sometimes the universe just doesn't have your back. So you have to make, even when you take a risk, you have to make sure that risk is beneficial to you before you take that leap and that you expect a good outcome. Otherwise, you're possibly headed towards failure.
Sometimes it's still good to realize that you can't please everybody, so you should try to please yourself in the right way if you can.
And that's what we have for the water signs. Good luck with that.
So now moving on to the earth signs.
The earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. This reading is for you for this Where Does It Hurt cycle.
And please feel free to leave any comments or communicate with us through our Gmail or Twitter or whatever. And let us know what you thought about the reading and how well it seemed to fit, your life or what you thought was going on. We love the feedback. Signs. Card 1. What is or will be making you unhappy or us right now? And of course, this is for earth signs. And it is the Four of Cups reversed.
Oh.
That's very interesting.
Well, because I always look at that as a more positive card reversed. So where does it hurt? Or what is making you unhappy? Maybe some of the opportunities that are coming your way, you seem now to be open for business. In other words, you could tackle another challenge or goal or objective in your life right now, but maybe some of the opportunities that are coming your way are either unsatisfying or you just feel like maybe you're not ready for them in some way, even though you want it. You might have wanted more time to think about this question or about other questions. And so this has the feel of maybe that you moved quicker than you wanted to or than you felt you should have on a particular important question. So so how are you dealing or will be dealing with this unhappiness? And it's the Knight of Swords reversed. Oh. So how you may be dealing with this may be opening yourself up to some rash moves or quickly trying to readjust yourself or to salvage the situation perhaps. Well, I don't look at this as positive, so no. I feel like the way you're dealing with this is making some aggressive maneuvers either around this or to try to, try to push. Oh, I don't know. I guess what I would say here is that, yeah, you're trying to either maneuver around things or move aggressively forward on something, even though you're really not ready to take it on, you know?
Right, it stands the risk really of making yourself sort of stick out like a sore apple in a way too, but maybe you're feeling that force is what's going to rule the day, or that's how you've decided to deal with how this makes you unhappy. Card 3. Why are your feelings or our feelings justified? And it's the Hierophant reversed.
Oh.
Perhaps it's justified because we feel we are really thinking out of the box here, or we are really thinking fresh in a way, or we are really thinking we are not going with a status quo that maybe others might have wanted, what I suggested in the first card. So we feel that we are able to look at things from different perspectives, and that maybe, what made us unhappy about the choice we felt we had to make. Maybe we felt we should have had more time, or maybe made more choices, maybe not necessarily close off those opportunities. Tough one.
Well, not exactly, but if you feel your feelings are justified because it's something you really want, it's something you really want, and doggone it, even if you're not ready to get it or not, you're going to aggressively pursue it, and you're going to seek out, you think you have alternative ways of approaching this whole thing that can make it happen. So I mean, on one level here, this is kind of a good cop, bad cop thing in a way. I almost feel like you're going to try to make this happen no matter what. And it may work for you ultimately by doing this careless, aggressive act, but it may not, and so I wonder.
It sort of looks like one is a contingency plan of the other.
Yeah, it's a real interesting reading here, Earth signs.
All right.
So what can you do to turn that frown upside down ultimately? Ooh.
These cards have been kind of rough here. It's the reversed Ace of Cups. And I'm almost wondering if this is something that we haven't seen it for some reason, but that there's so much emotional attachment attached to it somehow, that this is talking about people's feelings.
They're both cups. That's
all. True.
Yeah.
Being pleased or not. Mm-hmm. And we're wondering if this is really, that kind of thing, that we're scared, or that we're feeling like we're not really pleasing ourselves or pleasing everybody that needs to be pleased.
Well, how can you turn that frown upside down? By accepting maybe the fact that there may be some disappointments, that you're going to have to face along the way here. Will this really work out for you? Taking this alternative approach and trying to maneuver around what the universe has intended for you? I don't know. You may have to understand that, the results may not totally turn out the way that you had hoped. I'm beginning to think that now, that this may be, just the fact that you'll have to accept ultimately that it's just not necessarily going to work out. And that may be the only way you can turn this frown upside down. I hate to say it.
In other words, come to terms with what you have to accept, what you cannot change, and what destiny may really be trying to show you at this time.
Oh, I like that. That makes so much sense.
Well, you led it to me.
So let's take a look at this. The Four of Cups reversed here is about opportunities coming your way. But why will they hurt you? Because either you're ill-prepared for them, but you want it badly enough. So, doggone it, Earth signs, you can be stubborn sometimes. So if you want it bad enough, you're going to go for it anyway, despite the costs.
You may be making a choice that you really shouldn't be making at this time.
And so how are you dealing with it? You're trying to force it or railroad your way around it, maneuver around it, to, tweak it, whatever, to make it happen.
Overly aggressive actions with other people.
And it could have a cost, and it could take a toll on you. And so why are your feelings justified? Because you keep thinking there's got to be a way to make this happen. You're trying to think outside the box for ways to do so.
Exactly. This is really about, you approaching some really interesting alternatives that you normally wouldn't have done.
And ultimately, the only way you're going to turn that frown upside down is really say, well, ultimately, I tried. At least you can say you tried. But you have to accept the fact, have acceptance that sometimes things are just not meant to be.
Your cup is half empty and half full, and that's all you got.
Well, and there are other things in life. Don't let one setback, destroy your whole outlook on things. That's, I think the message here. So, gee, a tough time for you guys, Earth signs. Good luck with that. All right.
Mr. O has taken off the beret.
Oh.
Yes, his head was starting to get itchy.
Have you taken off the beret for our last reading for the collective?
Yes, I figured I should do that.
I need to hug Bly a minute here. The world has been so topsy-turvy. The U.S., so many crazy things going on right now. Bly, save us. Let's have a good reading for the collective.
So what hurts the world? What is hurting the world? What is sapping the world's strength? Energy,
Spirit.
Happiness, vitality. How can we make the world frown, turn upside down?
I think you are supposed to shuffle first this time.
Oh,
so
yes.
Shuffle.
Protocol.
So I may cut for you.
Cut to the chase.
Or did I cut last time?
You invest too much in it. It is what it is.
Oh, Bly.
Oh, blah. Oh, blah dee. Oh, blah da. Life goes on. Blah.
All right.
So it's October, and of course, I have decided to repurpose Totally Twisted Thursdays, which was yesterday or tomorrow, depending on where I'm at in the time stream. So hope you caught it. Thirsty Thursdays is what I'm doing now. And tomorrow's card is drawn from the
Speaking of thirsty,
Tarot.
I am.
Yes.
So, where does it hurt, world? Where does it hurt?
What is bothering the world right now?
Oh.
Oh dear. It's the Magician Reverse.
Oh my gosh.
We could write a book about this one.
We've seen so many things in the U.S. that this could fit to, but I'm sure you people around the world can certainly find examples of this too. People who are very ego-oriented. They do things that their ego demands of them, or they feel, will feed their ego. They don't use their skills appropriately and their talents and their abilities on their job. This is somebody who also wants to get by with sleight of hand, trickery, trying to fool people.
You know what it sounds like to me?
Yeah, a lot of things.
Well, it does, but it also sounds like maybe the possible uses and consequences of AI.
Oh, no. I'm just starting to use some AI art.
Well, we're going to have to put an end to that, aren't we, dear?
But seriously, I could look at what happened in the House of Representatives this week when Kevin McCarthy was ousted by somebody, and you could see two egos clashing there for their own purposes, not even the purposes of the people that they serve, really. The best interests of the country are not taken at heart here. Could also look at Mr. Trump and the court cases.
Well, I was going to take it somewhere else and say, this is maybe a metaphor for, how science is being trivialized and not being listened to in regards to climate change or energy usage or anything else going on. Of course, it refers back to what I said about AI.
There are a lot of false scientists out there and people who think they know medicine better than a scientist who studied it for years.
So like I said, we could write a book about that card alone, but we need to move on. And so how is the world dealing with all of this unhappiness? And it's the Page of Wands, and people want something that will maybe deliver them somewhere else.
How are we dealing with this? Well, it's bad news on top of bad news, number one. I think people get fed up with just hearing this all the time. And also, it seems like it's hard to get things going. It's hard to get progress, in medicine and science when you've got people who are, trying to stifle it. And also, it's hard to get things going, especially with another government shutdown looming in less than 45 days now, when there's no House Speaker and there's nobody to lead, and there's going to be all this chaos leading up to that.
On a personal level, pages representing youth, youthfulness, and myself looking at the situation feeling like I personally have never felt more disconnected or resonating nuance-wise with our younger people. I am having a little bit of a problem understanding younger people, their foibles, and I don't know if this is really sort of emblematic of that, but it could be in a way.
Well, you could take it personally, but this is the world, so
True.
I don't know.
Well, maybe that's the world, though, is like we have a big divide now where like a major part of the world's population is under 35. I don't know if you realize that.
I guess I didn't realize that because we're so aging out here, the baby boomers, but interesting. So, card 3, why are these feelings justified? It's the Nine of Pentacles reversed. Because we don't feel safe or secure anymore, we feel vulnerable. We feel vulnerable to all of these, outside forces that even in our own homes, we don't feel safe anymore. There's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of crime in different communities. And this just isn't in the U.S. This is worldwide.
There's really is an emphasis on this idea, the idea that we need to have a good balance between our private lives and our more public lives. And this could also speak to the idea that over-computerization is also tearing away the fabric between, what we want to keep more private. And so we are feeling like maybe we're being thrust into the limelight when we don't necessarily want to be.
Well, again, I could apply this to our leaders, especially in the U.S., but I know there's lots of things going on in Britain and other places right now that is very disturbing. So I think that, but if you look at the U.S., we feel we can't trust our leaders anymore. I think that's been going on for some time, whatever side of the fence you sit on here, and that's the problem. But are our leaders causing that?
This could be something that's worldwide felt too.
So how can we turn this frown upside down?
And it's the reversed Ten of Wands, which is a very good card. The Ten of Wands basically talks about how we can try to alleviate our burdens, try to shift our burdens, try to find people or situations that can help us.
There are many ways to eliminate the burdens. For example, in his idea about AI, how about working on regulations instead of fighting over who should be Speaker of the House or other things that, other governments are wasting their time on, meanwhile, while AI gets out of control. Or, for example, how can we eliminate our burdens? How about we elect people who are really going to do their jobs in Congress and not bicker and fight with one another?
And wands talk about networking. They're not pure communication, but networking is a big part of communication. And so I think this is about saying, really, we have to build stronger networks, stronger situations that work for us. And of course, that means we have to troubleshoot on all of those issues that maybe burden the process.
And so what we do see here is, positive conclusions can actually come out of this. But really, it is up to us to really create the reality that we want. Do we want it? A reality like what's hurting us now, where we allow egos to rule supreme here. People with the biggest egos, who will do anything to manipulate us to get what they want.
From an abstract point of view, the world, the populace of the world needs to embrace into its own self-actualization to realize we are in charge of ourselves as much as possible.
Do we want to deal with this by just stagnating and not trying to initiate new policies, procedures, or inventions, innovations in order to change this? Do we want to just stagnate? Do we want to just wallow in the bad news and think that there's no way out?
Don't pull out of the network, pull into the network.
Engage. And are our feelings justified? Well, they are, because we don't feel safe and secure anymore. We lack trust. We don't feel a sense of security. Some of us may, on the other hand, feel a false sense of security, which is why they stay where they are at rather than trying to change things for the better.
I got no words, really. I think this is really crucial to realize that a lot of people want the status quo one way or the other. Sometimes people don't want good things for themselves because they're afraid of other possibilities.
And ultimately, can we turn this frown upside down? Yes, we can. We have more power than we realize to do that. And there's power in numbers. This person is shouldering this burden alone. We should not let that happen, And that goes for, if you look at the whole congressional situation, everybody needs to work together there, not stand apart. But the bottom line is we the people, worldwide, have more power than we realize if we all come together and help each other and support each other rather than bring each other down.
Right. We need to stop thinking that our burdens are ours alone, that we really do have those numbers.
We share.
Share.
A lot of these things, you're not alone in feeling the way you do. Stop thinking it's just about me, me, me. There are other people like you out there. Absolutely. So that's what we have. Holy moly. Some very interesting readings, I think, this time for the Weird Week. Oh boy. Well, I hope a Weird Week. I called it the Weird Week.
Well, it is a weird week sometimes.
The unhappy month ahead.
But it was pleasant to share this time with you and hopefully, help you through some problems or situations you feel are coming to you. And likewise, the world.
Exactly. So hope you enjoyed this reading and stay tuned. We will see you next time for another Where Does It Hurt? Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye. Awesome.